Good morning, friends. We have covered almost everything in ear. Today we will start our videos on nose. For any topic, for any disease, we must learn anatomy. We will start our first video on anatomy of nose and paranasal sinuses. As shown in this figure, external nose has various parts. Like first is root of the nose. It is the point where nose starts from the forehead. From the root starts bridge of the nose, and it is also known as nasal dorsum. The ridge between face and nose is known as nasofacial ridge, and it makes an angle. The angle of nose with the face is known as nasofacial angle. Now when we look at the tip, the highest point is the apex of the nose. On the side it is nasal ala, and along with the cheek there is a sulcus known as alar nasal sulcus. The nasal opening is also known as anterior nares. In the midline there is a nasal septum, and the part in the center is also known as philtrum of the nose. Now when we see this external nose, this framework is made by bony part and cartilaginous part, and jointly it is known as osteocartilaginous framework. Bony part is upper 1/3, and it consists of two nasal bones, right and left, nasal process of frontal bones, and from below, frontal process of maxilla makes the bony part of nose. Cartilaginous part makes 2/3 of the lower nose. There are upper lateral cartilages, there are U-shaped lower lateral cartilages, and small lesser alar cartilage or sesamoid cartilage, which are 2 or more in number. And in the center we get nasal septal cartilage. If you see this figure, it shows complete anatomy of the sagittal section of nose. It shows nasal bone, perpendicular plate of ethmoid, which makes nasal septum, bony part. Just inferior to it is septal cartilage, a small vomeronasal cartilage, there is a vomer bone, small palatine bone. Superiorly, we see frontal sinus in the sagittal section. Roof is made by cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. We also see sphenoid sinus posteriorly. So this is sagittal section of skull. This diagram of osteocartilaginous framework is shown with different colors. Yellow color is for nasal bones. Just lateral to it is maxilla, frontal process of maxilla. In the midline there is a septal cartilage. Green is lateral cartilage. U-shaped alar cartilage, which are major alar cartilage. Red color is for minor alar cartilages and fibrofatty tissue inferiorly. There are some muscles also, like procerus, nasalis muscle, levator labii superioris, iliac nasi, anterior and posterior dilator nares, and depressor septi. Superiorly, orbicularis oculi muscle is also shown. We can see medial canthal tendon, and orbicularis oris muscle is just inferior to the nasal ala. Now we will see something about nasal skin. Upper skin is loose, while lower skin is thick and adherent. Whenever there is hypertrophy of sebaceous glands of nasal skin, it is called rhinophyma, and it is shown in the figure. After knowing something about external nose, we will see that what nose is having internally. So internal nose, it consists of nasal vestibule and nasal cavity. Nasal cavity has 4 walls. Laterally, lateral nasal wall. Medially, there is nasal septum. Above, there is roof of the nose, and inferiorly, floor of the nose. As you see in this figure, we see roof of the nose that consists of cribriform plate. We see frontal sinus superiorly. We see nasal bone. Septum anatomy is we have studied, and in the floor there is a maxilla and palatine bone. What is vestibule? Anterior and inferior part of nasal cavity is known as vestibule. It is lined by skin which contains sebaceous glands and hair or vibrissae. Upper limit on lateral wall is marked by limen nasi, Medial wall of vestibule is formed by columella and lower part of nasal septum. Here let us also show its clinical importance, that whenever patient gets recurrent vestibulitis, which is more commonly seen in patients with diabetes mellitus, that is due to scratching of nose and infection of hair roots or vibrissae lying in the vestibule, which causes hair root infection, and it is known as vestibulitis. In this figure, nasal valve is seen, which is superiorly. It is between nasal septal cartilage and upper lateral cartilage. In this figure, we are seeing inferior turbinate. So this is a picture of internal nasal valve. Now let us go deeper. As we discussed earlier, nose has got lateral wall, medial wall, roof and floor. Lateral nasal wall is very complex. It has got many structures. Mainly, there are turbinates and metastases. What are turbinates? They are scroll-like bony projections covered by mucous membrane. There are 3 turbinates, usually inferior turbinate, middle turbinate and superior turbinate, sometimes supreme. And spaces below the turbinates are corresponding with the respective turbinate, like meatus covered by superior turbinate is known as superior meatus. Middle turbinate is lying below middle turbinate, and inferior meatus lies below the inferior turbinate. Now we will study turbinates in detail. First is inferior turbinate. It is a separate bone. Nasolacrimal duct opens into inferior meatus, and nasolacrimal duct is guarded by Hessner's valve. Middle turbinate is a part of ethmoid bone. It is attached to lateral wall by ground lamella, or its other name is basal lamella. So this is the figure of lateral nasal wall. We see superior turbinate, middle turbinate and inferior turbinate, and they help in the air conditioning of air. That is the function of the turbinate. In this figure also, sinuses, turbinates, hard palate, soft palate are shown. Adenoids are seen in the nasopharynx. This X-ray shows middle turbinate, U is uncinate process, and EB is ethmoid bulla. What is uncinate process? The uncinate process is a superior extension of the lateral nasal wall that is anatomically relevant for draining the frontal recess. We will repeat it. What is uncinate process? The uncinate process is a superior extension of the lateral nasal wall that is anatomically relevant for draining the frontal recess. There are certain variations such as hypertrophy, deviation, and pneumatization, and it may affect the drainage of frontal sinus, and it generates abnormalities in the osteomeatal complex. In this figure, we see middle turbinate. On the left side there is lateral wall, and starred area is uncinate process. Now in this figure there is a schematic diagram which blue line is other structure but green line is uncinate process. So in this figure uncinate process is attached to the lateral wall. So we can see that frontal sinus drains in the middle meatus. Here we see maxillary sinus ostium also, and in this figure uncinate process is attached to the lateral nasal wall. In some cases uncinate process is attached with the roof of the nasal cavity, and if we see the CT scan picture, it shows various structures like bulla ethmoidalis, uncinate process, infundibulum, maxillary sinus ostium. We see middle turbinate, underlying middle meatus, and inferior turbinate. On the sagittal section, we can easily appreciate drainage of the frontal sinus through frontal recess. There is basal lamina, bulla ethmoidalis, and middle meatus. This figure shows the attachment of uncinate process. It may attach lateral to the lateral wall, it may attach to the roof, and it can also attach medially with the middle turbinate. Now we'll study about middle meatus. There are various structures in the middle meatus. First is infundibulum. What is infundibulum? It is a space limited medially by uncinate process and laterally by lamina papyracea or orbit. We will repeat it. What is infundibulum? It is a space limited medially by uncinate process and laterally by lamina papyracea. Natural ostium of maxillary sinus is situated in the lower part of infundibulum. So maxillary sinus is opened into middle meatus by infundibulum. There is one more structure in the middle meatus. It is known as bulla ethmoidalis. It is an ethmoidal cell situated behind uncinate process. Its anterior surface forms the posterior boundary of hiatus semilunaris. It can be pneumatized or it can be solid. If you can appreciate in this CT scan, we have tried to show you infundibulum. Infundibulum is an air passage connecting the maxillary sinus ostium to middle meatus. What is hiatus semilunaris? It is a gap between the uncinate process and bulla ethmoidalis. Medially, it communicates with middle meatus. Laterally and inferiorly, it communicates with infundibulum. So this is hiatus semilunaris. We will repeat it. Hiatus semilunaris is a gap between the uncinate process and bulla ethmoidalis. Medially, it communicates with middle meatus. Laterally and inferiorly, it communicates with infundibulum. So, middle meatus is a cleft-like communication between bulla So, these are the contents of middle meatus, and hiatus semilunaris superior is a cleft-like communication between bulla and skull base. It is called hiatus semilunaris superior. Agarnazi cells are situated anterior to the attachment of middle turbinate. Agarnazi cells are anterior ethmoidal cells. What is concha bullosa? Concha bullosa is a pneumatized middle turbinate. We should also know what are Heller cells. Heller cells are situated at roof of maxillary sinus or infraorbital cells. They are also a part of ethmoidal cells. This figure shows bulla ethmoidalis and Heller cell. Arrow shows Heller cell or infraorbital anterior cell. So, if we go in detail, this figure shows inferior meatus, which consists nasolacrimal duct, middle meatus, has got drainage of many sinuses like maxillary sinus, frontal sinus and anterior ethmoid sinuses. They drain in middle meatus. Posterior ethmoid sinuses drain into superior meatus and sphenoid sinus drains in sphenoethmoidal recess. Superior meatus is a part of ethmoid bone. Posterior ethmoid cells are 1 to 5 in numbers and they open into superior meatus. Now we also should know what is Onodi cell. Onodi cell is a posterior ethmoid cell which may go behind, far behind and posterior to sphenoid. And most importantly, optic nerve is related to its lateral wall. I will repeat it. What is Onodi cell? It is a posterior ethmoid cell which may grow posterior to sphenoid sinus and optic nerve is related to its lateral wall. Sphenoethmoidal recess is situated above the superior turbinate and sphenoid sinus opens into it. This is the axial cut of CT scan of paranasal sinuses and arrow shows Onodi cell. And we can see how close optic nerve is to the lateral wall of Onodi cell. Now this is a figure of, this figure shows sagittal section and it shows openings of sinuses. First is frontal sinus and which opens in the middle meatus. This figure also shows us hiatus semilunaris. There is, we also see opening of nasolacrimal duct in the inferior meatus and we also see opening of maxillary sinus in the middle meatus. This figure shows nearly all the structures of the lateral wall. It shows hiatus semilunaris, uncinate process, opening of frontal sinus, opening of maxillary sinus, opening of nasolacrimal duct. So there are sometimes another opening in the maxillary sinus. It is known as accessory ostium. We also see bulla ethmoidalis, sphenoethmoidal recess in which sphenoid sinus opens. Posterior ethmoid cells opens in the superior meatus and middle ethmoidal sinus also open in middle meatus. Now if we see the nerve supply of lateral nasal wall, superiorly there are olfactory nerves. They carry sense of smell. They end in olfactory bulb. These nerves carry sheaths of dura, pie and arachnoid with them into the nose. Injury to this nerve can cause CSF rhinorrhea or meningitis. There are other nerves which supply lateral nasal wall. First is anterior ethmoidal nerve which supplies anterior and superior part of nasal cavity. There are branches of sphenoparietal ganglion which supplies posterior to third of nasal cavity and branches of infraorbital nerve, it supplies nasal vestibule. Autonomic nerves, there are parasympathetic fibers. They come from greater superficial pituitary nerve. They travel in nerve of pterygoid canal and they make sphenopalatine ganglion. So these are the autonomic nerves for vasodilatation, and there are sympathetic fibers for which causes vasoconstriction. They come from upper thoracic segment of spinal cord to superior cervical ganglion. They travel in nerve of pterygoid canal and ultimately reach the sphenopalatine ganglia. This is the figure of nerve supply of lateral wall. We see olfactory bulb in the roof and different nerves as we mentioned earlier. We get very rich blood supply of lateral nasal wall. Both systems supply. Internal capillary artery supplies via anterior ethmoidal and posterior ethmoidal artery. They are branches of ophthalmic artery. External capillary system also supplies lateral nasal wall. Posterior lateral nasal branches are from sphenopalatine artery. Maxillary artery gives a branch known as greater palatine artery, and nasal branch of anterior superior dental artery. It is from the infraorbital branch of maxillary artery, and branches of facial artery supply vestibule. Here in this figure, both systems of blood supply are shown, anterior and posterior. Anteriorly, there is branches from the ophthalmic artery, posterior and anterior ethmoidal artery. Anteriorly, facial artery gives branches and it also supplies anteriorly. And if we look at posterior part of the nose, we see branches from internal posterior superior branch, sphenopalatine artery. It's a branch of maxillary artery, and there are also many plexuses like pharyngeal plexus, pterygoid plexus, and facial vein. These are the veins which carry venous blood. So, if we want to know something about middle wall of nose, that is septum, there are columeral septum. It is formed by medial crura of alar cartilages. One part is membranous septum and third is septum proper. It is made up of perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, vomer bone, quadrilateral septal cartilage, and there are minor bones also like crest of nasal bones, nasal spine of frontal bone, rostrum of sphenoid, crest of palatine bone and maxilla, and the anterior nasal spine of maxilla. This figure shows nerve supply of nasal septum. Superiorly, we see olfactory nerves in olfactory epithelium. It is in the roof of the nose. Anterior ethmoid nerve supplies superior part of the septum. We also get internal nasal branch of infraorbital nerve. Inferiorly, nasopalatine nerve, greater palatine nerve, and lesser palatine nerve, they supply inferiorly. And so basically, if you see, there is a line, upper part is supplied by first branch of trigeminal nerve, and inferiorly it is supplied by V2, that is second branch of trigeminal nerve. What is the blood supply of nasal septum? Here also both systems supply: internal cavity system, anterior ethmoidal artery, posterior ethmoidal artery. These are the branches of ophthalmic artery. And external cavity system supplies via sphenopalatine artery. It's a branch of maxillary artery which gives nasopalatine and posterior medial nasal branches. Branch of maxillary artery known as septal branch of greater palatine artery, and septal branch of superior labial artery. It's a branch of facial artery. One plexus is created in the little area. It is known as Kieselbeck's plexus. It is located at anteroinferior part of septum. It is formed by anterior ethmoidal, sphenopalatine, greater palatine, and septal branch of superior labial artery, and it is the commonest site of epistaxis. In this figure, Kieselbeck's plexus is shown. So now we will see what is the roof of the nose. It is a anterior sloping part of, it is formed by nasal bones, posterior sloping part formed by body of sphenoid, and middle horizontal part is formed by cribriform plate. Floor is formed, anterior third, 3/4 is formed by palatine process of maxilla, and posterior 1/4 is formed by horizontal plate of palatine bone. Now, lining of internal nose. Vestibule is lined by skin. Olfactory region present in upper 1/3 of lateral wall, roof and upper third of septum, and respiratory region is the lower 2/3 of nasal cavity. This figure shows olfactory region, and it is useful for the olfaction. We have learnt so much today. It was a big topic. You also go through again in the textbook. Thank you so much. चलो मैंने क्यों